Hello viewers from wherever you're watching us from. You're watching QTV, the Gambia's first private TV station, and we are broadcasting from our studios here on Kairaba Avenue. My name is Aliu Sise, and it's now time for our weekly taxpayer education program here on QTV, brought to you by the Gambia Revenue Authority in partnership with our French Development Agency as part of efforts to better engage with the taxpayers on the tax regulations in the country, but also to remind our viewers, of course, and taxpayers on the need to pay tax for national development. As you know, the Gambia is a tax-based economy, and I mean, most of the budget comes from tax being collected by the Gambia Revenue Authority, and it is because of that. I mean, we're having this weekly program to better engage with you, the viewers and taxpayers, on the need of paying tax appropriately. And today as well, I'm joined on the program by Henry Mendy, who is tax education manager. Mr. Mendy, good to have you on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. And of course, also in the studio, we have Babu Karanjai, who is senior tax education officer. Mr. Njai, good to have you on the program.
Yeah, thank you, Aliou. ñu ngi nuyu suñ mbokk yi seetaan yëpp. fu waay mun di seetaanee rek ñu ngi laa dalal bu baax comme niñ ko dee faral di defee every Saturday. ñun waa GRA ñoo fi de ñëw pour waxtaan ak yéen.
waaw yaa ngi garaaw nag daala bi moom xanaa fan la nag Adidas Mbappé Badamosi wala daala garaaw lay bags I understand ma la de
boy
so te polo saat you know yaa ngi desin xanaa da ngaa wajal seen game bi nag.
no as usual la rek te dama ko de oyofal nii de.
waaw da ko oyofal nii. am nga waa Liverpool la so di nga understand.
su diisoon du baax boy daf de oyof nii rek.
well viewers, I mean that's Mr. Henry Mendy and Babu Karanjai, our guest for today. I mean, we are still continuing the discussion on the guidelines for import and tax import and export, which we started last week. Today we will try to give you a recap of what we discussed last week for the sake of those who are joining us for the first time or those who couldn't watch the program last week. I mean, we are going to do a recap of the guidelines for import and export as far as GRA is concerned. But also on the program, we'll be joined by the Commissioner General Yankuba Dabo, who will be joining us on the program to buttress more on some of the issues that we have been discussing from last week. Henry, just a quick one, a recap. I mean, when you talk about, the import and export, what are the main functions of, when you talk about the customs and excise department, because GRA is divided into two. What are the functions of these two?
Well, we have two operational departments, but 8 departments altogether. So customs and excise, but the Bungas don't say exercise.
They say the Kiancas, they don't say exercise.
And domestic taxes department.
Yeah.
For customs, the first, I would say, revenue collection. That's their first task. And then second is trade facilitation, and third is security. As they are doing the trade facilitation, then they are collecting also revenue. And revenue is collected through their Secura system. If you import, you come and all the documents that we will be discussing again. We want to go over this because people have called and said they want, some said we've missed last week, and we want you to go over it so that we can understand it better. Yes, the subject matter specialist is not here today.
Tijan, last minute unforeseen circumstances. Didn't make it.
And for the fuller listeners, we are sorry that we could not have Dabel also in the studio today due to circumstances beyond our control. But we are here. We'll go over it. The two old friends.
Yes.
Baugara and Henry. They call Aki and Popo.
Aki and Popo.
Yeah, yes. This is how we are called at the office.
Yes, Aki and Popo.
Wherever you see,
create the noise, you create the trouble.
Yes, tell us wherever you see Henry, you see Babukar, know that an event is about to happen.
Yes. So these are the 3 main functions of Customs and Excise Department. A very, very important department in GRA. I think I will stop here and then today I'll speak in Manjago.
Yeah, why not? Why not? I'll come
Siki
back.
can understand Manjago,
No, it's important. Ulef, we have to speak Manjago today. Babukar delsu wat nañ ci programme bi tay dinañ jéem a delluwaat rek si li nga xam ne waxtaan nañ ko last week. Am na ñoo xam ne tey mun na am last weekend mënuñ ko na seetaan waaye tey join nañu pour mun a join programme bi. fu ma doore moo nekk ne soo déggee ñu naan customs and excise department, how many these are the 2 main departments at GRA. We have many departments, 8 departments there. Why so they these customs and excise? la moo nekk seen functions.
waaw jërëjëf Aliou comme ni ko Henry waxee topic bu important la mooy these guidelines to for important export dañ jot information bu bari si town bi ne ñu bari ne dañ ko miss because ñeneen ñoo inform ñeneen ñi so because of that ñu take opportunity bi ne dinañ bamtuwaat liñ discussion waaye unfortunately specialist bi Tijaan nekkut fi waaye ñun ñi nga xam ne ñoo responsible this education taxpayer education unit bi dem nañ ba understand lu bari.
na ngeen lu bari.
waaw si li affaire bi yëpp di doxee xam nga.
xam ngeen ko.
so moom su fi nekkul dinañ ko doxal. su fi nekkee tam ñu bàyyi mu doxal.
bàyyi ko
waaw waaye su fi nekkul tamit loolu du tax mun nañ ko doxal. waaw so li nga wax noonu mooy duwaañ si suñ local language bi olof wala soose. da ngaa gis ne first of all seen liggéey li si njëkka mooy revenue collection mooy collect naamo pour réew mi si wàllum juuti. because bagage buy dugga si réew mi foog mu fay juuti am na yeneen yoo xam ne tam suy génn tam di same thing waaye da nga gis ne naamo bi ñoo dajale noonu moom la nguur gi dee jël pour doxal réew mi because soo ko bàyyi xel économie Gambia bi kenn réeréewul mbir ne luñ dee discuss every time na ne tax based economy la without naamo waxuma la ne dëkk bi du dem de waaye dina jafe waaw dina jafe trop because naamo bi daf ko dee dimbale pour mu taxawaay bu dëgër ñaareel bi mooy trade facilitation mooy pour yombal jaay ak jënda si biir réew mi ak bitim réew bagage yi nga xam ne dañoo jógee bitim réew di ñëw fii nii naka la ñoo yombale la affaire yi pour mu dugga si suñ la leen yombal minute ab wàllum price bi ñu ngi wax affaire yi jafe-jafe bu mu am bagage yi ñëw si port bi dinañ make sure ne kayit yi ñu war a régler yëpp ñu régler ko ñu bàyyi mu dugga yi ñëw si border bi tamit the same thing because dina am ñoo xam ne dañoo ay bagage yoo xam ne dañ ko freeze su spend time bu bari si border bi wala mu spend time bu bari si airport bi wala si seaport bi dina jël mun na affect bagage yooyu so yooyu suñu yére dañ ko dee mun a clear at once si Juba ñu ñëw régler kayit yi nga xam ne moo des waaye daf dee fekk yow nekk nga businessman boo xam ne dang dee comply musuloo am ak ñun benn jafe-jafe si wàllum fay musuta am tardement musuta am dara loo xam ne jaala na den dang dee mun a am access bi ñoo ooyee direct delivery bagage yi suñu yére nañ ko alaaw mu dem den su boobaa ñu ñëw régler li nga xam ne mooy kayit yi ñu xool naka lañ ko doxalee den ñetteeli xaaj bi mooy security mooy wàllum kaaraange soo bàyyee xel Gambia am na lu ñoo ooyee National Security Council commissioner général am na fa toogu moom moo fa represent GRA te da ngaa gis ne soo bàyyee xel tam loolu moo tax ñu dee match si independence bi Tijaan bi fi teewoon last week waxoon na laa ne fana 2019 la maajoon I think so dañ dee mun a teew pour represent GRA si match pass boobu noonu so suñ liggéey si border bi ak si port bi airport bi si wàllum security mooy pour bàyyi xel bagage yi nga xam ne ñu ngi dugg si réew mi ndax bagage yooyu óor na pour mu ñëw si réew mi waaw because xam nga nekkul ne bagage bi nekk mooy ñëw soo demee si border bi di nga fa fekk custom officer bi mu ngi fa immigration dina fa nekk police na fa nekk SIS bi na fa nekk drug squad nañ fa nekk food and safety so collectively ñoom ñëpp dañu responsible security réew mi suñ la tiyee foofu bagage yooyu dugal first port of call bi si customs bi la suñ gisee ne tiyee nañ la drogue boo xam ne illegal drogue la dinañ la jébal drogue law enforcement bi ñoom dinañ doxala yow ci loi bi li mu wax because suñ mandate agut foofu noonu suñ la tiyee loo xam ne tam warut a dugal si réew mi loo xam ne nii si section ni police bi la ñu jébal la police bi waaw su dee yow bii dugal bagage bi tam si réew mi amuloo kayit yu correct si wàllum immigration dinañ la jébal immigration ñu doxal ak yow su dee li nga dugal tamit si wàllum lekka la ñu dem ba gis ne si biir loolu gis nañ ne lekka bi dafa expire yaa ngi ko dugal si réew mi nañ la jébal food and safety ñoom tam li seen luwaay wax ñu doxala yow si loolu noonu Aliou
waaw li nga noonu am na solo trop tey nag suma ji mu ngeen tey dafa wax si njaago waaw bàyyi ma door si njaago bi après yow nga ñëw door si soose bi
waaw da nga maa laajte ci njaago
ragal naa
waaw boobu moom ragal laaj am problème la
soo ko bëggee laaj si njaago dañoo raj programme bi de man damaa ñibbi ma abal leen studio bi man ma dem suma yoon de
Henry
ɓe jinjima jako na citi bicci GRA lempundi kroy undaka e department me katchundi GRA department gute bicci wonolin ci wuyak ci custom and excise and ni domestic taxes department yo tare ulempu banduanyo ndi chundi bicci pana chuno chikitiji bagas o masandis panani utanda pineja ni Gambia wala mkaba masandis imeke panati Gambia te panutanda e carte yo mim firion e ke pibani par ulemp munto ali ye parunde ulemp banduan we chunu we warom goro kalonti gambeti undi yola ci class kwand ucha ke chun urasa parce que mediare ulemp na ci banya lemp kalukurasa bajula kapluk dikiti jibum ko bagas ne jane gambia masandismu akakoy bu kanja juti we kluku tiburo mun ka china ko test kom do utubanta chun pujula patang ba jula buka puri ne jane bagas o masandisu ko buka puri pichila chun trade facilitation tumuntom e kam kabe carte njenti rek buka tanko bagas ka neji wala chil bagasu carte bu jonde frontière wajan tan chun ko ba English ke jay security parce que me undu na bo free security council kon yo independence ci undu ka yabut undu ka bof so wi chunu lemp banduan indi twin banduan di ya ci ba nyamba warata ki me man jago yenda banduan man jago sin general fiem cost duan that's what I'm saying, you know. When you say come and work for this, no. Initially manjagu yenda duan ma banduanya chiba bukinde chiba ininde chiba arende ule uchaku ikanja Gambia ibachiu da mene Gambia ti urasa chit Gambia katuru bukati petrol bukati essence achikalo no pitu ni uchak ni cotton mamdo ngada chi tingi chidingi ngire gije ya turasa chipia urasa banyandi kalu kon Gambia pising Gambia reka kon chami me ko lemplega chami ka lempnel loptan chami kalu kiba jukang man doktor ni lemp munton reka chi kon jiare lemp jiare ti Gambia ti akavalur mak yo wi chun lemp banduan ka je jurasa pujula patang wajula ni security kanya security gambet aliu bara
baraka thank you very much Henry sa way doon njaago bi de
waaw waaye xam nga li
lu am solo la xam naa ñu bari ñu ngi seetaan te li mu wax ni am na solo
ci dégg na njaago de
waaw gars yi dinañ dégg because xam nga suñ office tam am na ñaari directeur yoo xam ne njaago lañ
exactly
Anes Mendy mooy directeur HR and admin njaago la John SL Gomez mooy directeur internal audit moom tam njaago la
it's interesting. It's an all-inclusive stuff institution ngeen am.
Exactly. So
just kala ma sose rek li ñu doon discuss noonu rek. Kamen kachan wala mu custom and excess department. Ngalom bari bungul ka for exercise.
Yow sax nga so de wa exercise bi dang de tek
exercise. Non exercise.
Be tek time am le.
No da ngay tek sa time.
Kamena na ba wala ako njeko bari bungul fa ka for exercise.
Je ay wala fo.
Wala punya de.
Si ji bela moy kan
program. Ako njeko kara fu moye.
Yang
ma fu moye nak.
Yang ma tumal de bo. Nana la wa ki ngi ñoo ne exercise te ñun nekkuñ di exercise. Okay, thank you Henry. An Aliou comme baɗigol ngal be konton rek momo be jubero la dawoda ntel jiyaren ko lenata jang comme dalta ka nyameng sibiti wo sibiti last week nak nga topic ko men discuss nung bimbe wole jaba kese wotola because nga information on soto banta ko nying import and export nying topic ko nying was interesting mo jama interest soto jele so decide ta ko binin natam ba bola nyotole ko tenke comme nga kenu nyameng ba dati la men na wolom munom duwañol la do koti because GRA na lakido banka nga fo na programme dolto jang nga department seyle soto o department fula bi jemele alon ko wolom operational department wolom wolle alon ko wolle do ko be nga namu kanim bunda nyinto wolom domestic tax ti and customs and excise follow cos duwañol la do ko follow menti wolom namu kaningo wona mo nyin nak man sakunda ka oleta pour ka do banko ni samba nyato na la kilo banka nga fonda programme jamal to fananko Gambia mo banko leti me anon ko tax based economy lo molom banko lo me anon ko abe jikiri namo la bakele pour banko nyin na nyato ta ning ko banko nyin tita namo koma maybe fanan ate dia mo nyin te nyinya la bake barin sa fono fanan pour eta namo koma abe kole yalale so wo namo ñin nak aka collect duwañu la karolan kaf me duty aka collect airport ñin tole aka collect seaport ñin aka collect bodal fanan tole doku fulan jango wolam trade facilitation wolam ka sandiro ning wafiro fanan ka sone andi mol bulu ka sone andi mol bulu mamanke ko kombe ñim bunda to be price la ko le foko hani bari comme atama nyaabe kala nyaamen baga sol la dungo ni la finto sate o ñin kono nin kata sate o ñim banta abe sone la nyaadi le fe anon ko bata dalti soto la je because business mano la wato be mu ko doleti wati o wati spend airport ñin to wala spend seaport ñin to wala boda ñin to aka ko dole spend an wo ko do ñi xana la ban tel kan tel me anon kon tel lom consumalti wolom tel mel ka baga sol sang aka na la ban tel kan because business mano e fengo fen spend abe la baga sol kan so walatina doku sabanjango ni iwe tanko bunda fanan duwanyol fanan bijele wo tanko bunda ni nak ni tata boda nyinto wala airport ni seaport doku tanko bunda mol me alam ko bije mol ni wolle fanan kadeng nyin doku wala dabe kono wolon police solti immigration SIS nun ton cafe NIA drugs squad wol be katara jele so nayata nga fengo fe muta boda nyinto me alon ko amanya na dunda banko nyin kono abalon comme for example drug me anon ko amanya na dunda sate kono mbi hando wala drug squad lale because luwaye wolle sembento yandi pour yewo ko tamandi nayata fanan jorangol lo me anon ko nyanta dunna amanya na dunda sate kono ngamutela bagasol kono mbi hando wala police bulu wol fanan ni babola nyotole domor fengol fanan the same thing nata domor fengol lo me anon ko ibe dundi kan sate kono anda amanya na dunda jang for example la expire tale wala quality ni mampetea ni amuta mbe hando wala food and safety wol ni babola nyotole so ñing bunda sabol aliw wolum duwañol la do koti
akumera bake Henry, I mean, when you talk about import and export, I mean, what is import and export?
A layman's definition of import is goods that are from outside entering the Gambia. We'll term it as import to the Gambia, and where it's coming from is export. So goods also manufactured in the Gambia or made here and taken out will also be export from the Gambia, and import if it is, for example, going to Senegal or going to Guinea, it's going to be import for them, but for us export. So layman's term means goods that cross international border from one country to another. If it is leaving your country, it's export. If it is entering your country, it's import. Simple layman's definition is.
Could you just summarize that in Manjago before I bring in Babakar?
Yo, aliwa yeparen wechun import and export. Masandi simne apeni ruta ande pineji Gambia ulibe English ke jon import. Uchi masandi slempa pututi Gambia te abajula ru chilende putupandu tand uli chu export. Chinda mene ulerun sangunsi la ngini jul kapende putup upit yaka chilandule kong mdong kaje kachiun export. Mandamere yakawelo mane pupandu tand yakaweli duling puneja ni yakaweli kab kongi korgetung puneja ni kongi yong jakaneja ni chuin import. Wow, ti pungutinu jipan chun import and export.
Babkar, so dege chunan import export nga dega nyibanya mangi import bagage bi nyina mangi export bagage bi la mo nek difference bi.
Wow, jerejef Aliou dañ ko dee bugga mu nekk lu simple ba nga xam ne kuy déglu ku nekk dina mun a understand because xam nga jubluwaayu programme bi mooy pour ñëpp ñu understand so dañ ko def in a very simple way boo xam ne ñëpp dinañ mun a understand soo déggee ñu ne import mooy nga jëlee bagage bitim réew muy ñëw Gambia waaw foo mun di jógee nag si bitim réew bi as far as mu ngi jógee si biti di ñëw Gambia rek loolu mooy import waaw su dee Sénégal nga ko jëlee Amérique nga ko jëlee wala China nga ko jëlee foo ko mun di jëlee rek as far as yaa ngi ko jëlee si biti mu ngi dugg si réew mi moom la ñu ooyee import den su boobaa dinañ si kanam tuuti dinañ ñëw si kayit yi nga xam ne di nga ko soxla den su dee bagage yi nga xam ne tam ñu ngi ko defar fii te mu ngi génn fii di dem yeneen réew moom la ñu ooyee export waaw soo dafa mel ni comme suñu amee fii ay bagage yu ñu xam ne ñu ngi fii si réew mi yaa ngi koo génnee mu ngi dem Sénégal wala mu ngi dem Guinée Bissau wala mu ngi dem Mali si simple language moom la ñu ooy export comme mbaɗigol quand même fo rek wolom import ning export ɗum nanta woloftawole faram fansela ke bo ñoto niya moyin ko import wolom bagasol mel ka bona bantala bankoto aka nanna bankoto jang abota dawo danak as far as aka bo bantale rek aka na jang pour safaro la karola nka fule import comme mol kata bantale ka bagasol sang ika natina Gambia den nyato do mandi ngalom bina kaytol to lay sulata menna den na tra fanang bagasol menan ko ka dada Gambia akata bantala bankol to angalel ka fule export wolom bagasol menan ko ka dada jang nka bondi jang ka samba bantala bankol to so fanang akumayata bakele because aka business oni so nendi mol bulle isaje fanang banko ni fanansi na fulo do mandi sota pour nyin ko leta
like you said, I mean, it's good you cleared, I mean, what's the difference between import and export, but often than not, you hear someone say, okay, I've imported my goods into the country, but somehow I'm finding it difficult to clear my goods. I mean, what are the documents required to be able to clear your goods?
Yeah, international trade is governed by a system, by laws agreed by WCO, World Customs Organization. And these are agreements that Gambia also signed through our customs, and they must be respected. Within our region too, we also have ECOWAS. We also agreed on some things. But then the documents we are discussing will be documents that if you bring goods through the ports, seaport, because for the land, it will be a little bit different. So if you come through the seaport, there are a set of documents that you need to that will come with your goods. And the first one is bill of lading. If you go to Babukar's China,
Beijing.
Yes, and buy goods and put it in a container, now you have to look for a ship to bring it. So that ship, the owners, you discuss and they'll charge you and so on. And when everything is agreed, there's a document that is called bill of lading that will be given to you. And that will contain the container number, the type of goods that are in the container, the ship, which ship is bringing it, the route it is going to pass before it reaches Gambia, and how long is it going to take before it comes. So that is bill of lading. That one will be given to you, the owner of the goods, and when it comes, the one who is going to clear for you, the clearing agent, will then take that one and then use it, go into the Asikuda wall, and then input some things. Then we also have a packing list. The container might have a lot of goods inside. So the list will show Babukar has a car inside, he has a set of clothes, he has mobiles, he has, he likes shoes.
Yes,
he has some shoes
packed
packed inside, cartons of shoes, and so on. So that list will show. So when it comes to custom, they'll know this and this is in this container A, this and this in container B, if you have many containers and so on. We also have a very, very important document, which is original list, original invoice. I think later the big man will come on that.
CCJ will join us on the program.
Yes, seasoned custom officer. He will come and buttress on that or talk about whatever.
Yeah.
Yes. So I think this, why we are saying all the documents are important, why we are saying original invoice, people like Bauka can go and come back with his goods and play with the list, the invoice. So we've also realized that there are people who are not trustworthy, importers who are not trustworthy. So we insist from the Commissioner General's office, we insist that the invoice must be original. Even here in the Gambia, we've been insisting that when you go, if you go to supermarket and buy, collect your receipt. That receipt will help the taxman to be able to know that supermarket A has this amount of turnover, and tax supposed to be paid on the turnover and profit. Or if you are not collecting your receipts and so on and so forth, then you are making some people escape, beat the tax system. So this original invoice will state the amount of money you spend on purchasing the goods. The insurance will be stated. Because if you buy goods, insure them with the ship before you ship them to the Gambia. and what you've paid for transportation will also be stated. So with that, customs will be able to determine how much you're supposed to pay as duty. If that one is not clear, duty will be difficult to calculate because duty is paid on CIF, cost, insurance, and freight.
Right.
And that is very important for us.
Indeed, it's quite interesting. I understand CG is now on the line. I mean, Bauka, before you come in, let's just engage the Commissioner General of the Gambia Revenue Authority, Yankoba Dabo. CG, good to have you on the program.
Oh, thank you so much, Alu. Thank you so much. I'm really enjoying Henry.
Kebama.
If I can speak, Punak.
Bulong.
Punankata.
CG. I'm really happy today that you are speaking to me in Manjago. Uchakalil. Nasembati wara wa. Mak. Yeah, I don't mind Aliu and Babukar.
Yes, CG, I know you've been following the program. I mean, you have had, I mean, we're discussing the guidelines for import and export. I mean, is there anything else you would like to share with our viewers and listeners?
Yes, Ali, thank you once again. It's important that
Hello,
CJ.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm saying that I'm happy to join you on the program, and the fact that you this time around and last week you started discussing about import and export.
Yeah.
As you has been said earlier on, GRA has about 8 departments. But there are only 2 operational departments, and that is the Customs and Excise, and also the Domestic Tax Department. And Domestic Tax, as word itself, they concentrate on mobilizing revenue domestically, and the Customs concentrate mobilizing revenue on international. So it is important that you, in your taxpayers' education, you try to touch both areas. And for import-export, that is the subject today. The things that you mentioned are very important. Everything that comes into this country, if it is import, it has to be accompanied by certain documents. First, it must have a bill of lading. Second, there must be a company invoice. And in that invoice, it will indicate CIF, Banju, meaning cost, insurance, and freight. And that it has to be an original invoice. This is what we are looking for. It also has to get packing list. If it is foodstuffs, it also has to get health certificate, etc., etc. These are the key things that we look forward when somebody imports. And when you import, you also don't go directly to GRA, but you have to go through a third party, and that is the clearing and forwarding agents. These people, their job is to be between GRA and the importers. So they normally they are registered businesses.
So they are more like brokers.
Clearing and forwarding agents. They will take all these documents and try to prepare the customs entry through the Asikuda. Now that you know about Asikuda Wall, which has given the whole world the opportunity to start interacting with it, either you are at home or at the office or anywhere you are. As long as you can get internet, you can have access to the Asikuda Wall. And then you can prepare your entry, and you can be allowed to go up to the point of assessing yourself. By the way, I must quickly say this. The rules are self-assessment. We relied on you people to self-assess themselves based on the fact that they will have original invoices when they are importing, when they are assessing. And that gives them opportunity to assess until they know the tax that they're supposed to pay. However, if we realize that the invoice that you submitted, which you assess yourself, it is not an original invoice, we will ask you to make sure you submit the original. Where we fail to get that original invoice from you, we have in the office what we call what we indicative values or reference values. This reference values replaces the original invoice because some importers, it is very difficult to get the original invoice from them. And our assessment is based on the original invoice, CIF Banjul. But where we don't have the CIF Banjul original from you, then we have to refer to our indicative value or the reference value. And that is what we will use to whatever, if your tax is short based on the assessment, then they will use those values to assess you correctly. This is how the importation process goes. In simple terms, anybody who import, we expect you to go through a clearing and forwarding agent. The clearing and forwarding agent, they are registered business. We register them. The GRA register them, give them license to operate. In the event they are found wanted, there are punishments that are there for them, and they all know about that. So they are also being very careful not to do something that will cost them their job, because most of them, their career job is clearing and forwarding. So they try to be very careful in what they are doing, because they know if they misstep, then GRA will take punishment. So most of the time, we don't even see the importer. At the level of GRA, the operational, the importers will be somewhere else. The only face they will see, it will be the clearing and forwarding again. And even those people, now, because of the coming of the Asikuda wall, you even don't need to see them, because everything is system-driven. So thank God to the Asikuda wall coming, which is really a very good tool, and it's helping us in terms of our enforcement. Right now, if somebody submits some, I heard Babukar talking about direct delivery facility, which it means it's part of trade facility. So somebody has a bulk cargo. Bulk cargo here means enough sugar, rice, cement, and the things like that. Or you have consignment, which you are supposed to pay 10 million, 5 million. Maybe to have the cash, little cash with you. The businessman may not have that on the spot. He or she can apply for trade facilitation, what we call direct delivery facility, and it will be approved to them. And once it's approved within a month, before the coming of the Asikuda wall, some people, when we approve, give them that facility, when the deadline comes, they normally don't come to pay, forward to pay. So our enforcement will go after them, running after them. So we do have a lot of problems, in those days. But now, it's a total different game. Once this assessment is done, a direct delivery is given to you. Either at the end of the month, you come and pay, or you are expected to have the SIC, that's the Special Investment Certificate, or you are expected to have duty waiver. If at the end of the month, if you don't bring those documents or you did not come to pay, the Asikuda system will block you from our system, both the clearing agents and the importer. So that becomes automatic. And even myself as CG, I cannot do anything about it. So at the end of the day, the agents will not be operated to do a work for another person. So you see, the clearing agent himself or themselves will not allow that thing to happen, because it means that if you don't pay that particular direct delivery, you will not be able to operate. You will not be able to do work for other people. So it means that it's the end of your job. So even if the importer doesn't want to pay, now the enforcement will come from the clearing agent to say, you have to pay this, because if you don't, you are now making me jobless. So our system is such a good system that it's helping us physically going after people for enforcement. But the system itself is doing the enforcement. And within the Asikuda, we also have these reference values. In case you submit something that is far from being original, the reference values are there to refer to. So the system will indicate, and they will know that the submission that you make is wrong, because this is a developing country. We must acknowledge that we depend on taxation for most of our development agenda. And as such, we always have to come up with this kind of reforms, so that at the end of the day, we will be able to collect the right tax for the government. I must say that it's not easy to pay tax. Nobody wants to depart with money. So the job we have is not an easy job. It's like we are after people to come and pay. People who import, we make sure that they pay. People who do business within the economy, domestically, we make sure that they also, come forward and pay. But the reality of life is that, Ali, people don't want to depart with money. So
especially by the bunkers.
And the Sarawulis, you know.
Baukar will also want that one.
The bunkers don't want to pay, but the Sarawulis, they don't also want to depart with money. So this is the situation, Ali. But we're doing this collection with a human face.
Yeah.
Here I said we do it with human face. My staff, they try their utmost best to be professional. They'll be talking to people with a smile and then trying to talk to them with respect, so that at the end of the day, you will pay the money, but you will not be mad at them. Because we know that to depart with money is always difficult. But what we expect from everybody is when you import, bring us your original documents. If you don't give us your original document, we will impose an amount on you. And you may not like to have that amount. So the easiest thing is self-assessment. Both systems, both for either import and export, or if for domestic taxes, we have self-assessment system. So we don't come, GRA will not come and impose on LCC, this is what you are supposed to pay. No. We allow you, we give you benefit of the doubt. To say, I import a container of 20 footer, and these are the items there. This is the original invoice. What we do need to do is, the rates are in the system. So within a short period of time, you can clear your container. Anybody who has difficulties in clearing his or her container, it means that their documentations are not in order. But if your documentations are in order, you have your original bill of lading, your original invoices, parking list, it will take you less than 24 hours to clear your containers on the port. So these are the things that really we are doing at the ports level and in GRA as general. I am very happy to be part of this program in the sense that it's helping the people to understand. Because sometimes when you don't understand the procedures, it sounds like a rocket science. But these are not rocket science. These are simple things. And you just have to follow the procedure. And if you respect the rule of the game, you don't have a problem. So we are appealing to everybody who are involved in the import-export, just to that the requirements you follow. If you do that, then it's easy. And we are always ready to help you in terms of trade facilitation. We have desk officers who are there either at domestic tax or customs who can explain to you what you are supposed to do when it comes to import and export. And we go extra mile to create a facility we call direct delivery facility. That means if you don't have money on the spot to pay for something, we can give you 30 days and allow you to collect your goods from the port to avoid demurrage and other payments, local payments. You have your goods. Within 30 days, you come back and settle, and within 30 days, you come back and settle the duties that you need to pay. So these are some of the things that we do at the level. So,
CJ, before you go,
once again, I am happy to be part of the program.
Yes, CJ, just before you go, I mean, you've mentioned some of the documents that are required. I mean, you talk about the bill of lading, the parking list, the original invoices. How important is it as far as getting a TIN number is concerned in the work of the GRA?
Okay. If you go to America, for example, I studied in America.
Yeah.
I stayed in America for some time, and I worked there for some time. There is something they call Social Security number. For those of you who travel to America, without Social Security number, you can't get any work, you can't get any transaction officially. So the Social Security number in America is very important for every individual that lives in America. Now, coming back to the Gambia, GRA, when the GRA came into being, one good thing that they come up with is the TIN number. When we establish GRA, and it comes important that every citizen that is involved in an economic activity or doing other things, you must have a TIN number. And these TIN numbers are unique to individuals and unique to businesses. So that is why you can't do anything now. Even in the banks, when you go there, they will ask you, what is your TIN number?
Yes.
Because in other words, it's like next to your birth certificate for individual. So that TIN number is what we have in our system, in the computer system, the Asikuda wall, as well as in the GAMTAX net. The PIN numbers that we have there. When you come, you said you are Alusike. We will put in your name and then your TIN number will come. And even if we put your TIN number in, then Alusike will pop in. So now what we do with these TIN numbers, we can track everybody that is doing business with us. Sometimes, if you refuse to pay your taxes, domestic taxes, rightly, the domestic tax officers will bring the name list of those who did not pay their taxes, and then they will submit it to customs, and customs look at the TIN numbers and block them. Those importers or those people that are involved in clearing, they will not be able to have any access in terms of importation or any other economic veto. So TIN number is so important to us, and as well as individual citizens. It's just like a social security number that you have in America.
Well, just a quick one, CG, before you leave us. I mean, you hear people often say, I mean, custom duty is a lot cheaper in Senegal than the Gambia. I mean, is this the case?
Yeah.
Or could you just
clear
this?
I totally agree. Okay. I don't think they have the statistics. Okay. When you look at the Gambia, what we charge compared to other countries, we are cheaper. We are far cheaper than Senegal in terms of all forms of duty. We are far cheaper than Conakry, Bissau, etc. This is why we have this country as a bouncing state, meaning this is why a lot of people bring in goods here, and they pay duty, and they are able to take it out again. If it is not because of we are cheaper, they would prefer to take it directly to those countries. But because if you compare the duties people pay here with our neighboring countries, we are far cheaper. And that is why people use this country. What is happening now is the world is changing. Everything is changing. You know, so people, what they used to pay 5, 6, 7 years ago or 10 years ago, they can no longer pay that amount of money because everything has changed. And the duty, when you have your customs, your invoices are based on CIF. But these CIF are not in dollars, they are in dollars. Because dollar is the one that we use everywhere in terms of import-export. Now, that dollar, whatever it translates to, it may be $10,000, $15,000, $20,000. It is always, you use the exchange rate, official valuation exchange rate, and then with that CIF value, whatever it gives you in dollars, then you apply the rates on it. That gives you the duty for the day. So the duty you pay 10 years ago, 5 years or 2 years ago, and the duty you may be paying today will be different because there are other factors that are playing. For example, the dollar. The rate of the dollar last year may be 50. Today it's about 60-something. So if your CIF value, you got it in dollar, when you come and then you prepare your entry, whatever that value is in dollar is multiplied by the valuation rate, and then you have it in dollars. And then the duty rates will be applied. And that may look like it is higher compared to last year or year before last. But in actual fact, to answer your question, the duties and all the payments, and even the turnaround time, whatever the people may say, still in the Gambia here is faster than any other neighboring countries. So I visited personally all these countries. And I know I went to Guinea-Bissau, Conakry, Senegal, all these neighboring countries. I know how much we are charging here compared to what they are charging over there. So I totally disagree. We are still cheaper.
And for someone who is watching this program and you perhaps think, okay, if you import your goods through Senegal, that will exempt you from paying the custom duty in this country. Could you just clarify that as well?
It is not possible for you to bring your goods into the country without paying anything. That is not possible. Whether you come through the air, whether you come through the sea, whether you come through the border, the payments, the rates are the same. There is no way you can come into the country that you can come and get your goods without payment of duty. So that one is out of it. If the goods that are paid, you know, they are the goods, you pay your goods depending on what kind of commodities they are and where they come from. If you have goods that come from Senegal and the goods are made in Senegal, there are exemptions because there are bilateral, multilateral agreements that are within this country, ETLS and others. So that means goods that are produced in Senegal itself, when it comes to Gambia, they don't pay duty. This is what many people don't understand. What they pay will be VAT, and other processing fee, eco levy and AU levy.
Yes.
Yeah.
In fact, they may not even pay AU levy or eco levy because they are still part of, that are still part of within ECOWAS. So the most they pay will be processing fee and VAT. Because these are goods that are from Senegal. If goods come from out of West Africa, that you can understand. And with the coming of AU, you know, so AFD, then that means that anything that comes within Africa, when it's produced within Africa, that means that those goods will not also pay duty. So this is the main difference that many people don't understand. For example, I can give you a good example. If a cement is produced in Senegal and the cement comes through the border, that cement that comes in will not pay duty, but it will only pay a VAT and processing fee. As opposed to a cement that comes from Spain, it comes to Gambia, that cement will pay duty, VAT and everything. And there are other commodities. For example, if you have vegetable cooking oil, the vegetable cooking oil, there is no duty, there is no VAT in it. If it is produced in Senegal or Sierra Leone and it comes through the border, the duty is zero, the VAT is zero. So you expect to get only 1.55%, that's processing fee. So there is a lot of things a lot of people don't understand and they misinterpret it. And we have to follow the rules of the game because we live within a community and we sign protocols and these protocols must be respected.
And I think it's important.
In simple terms, goods that are produced within West Africa, if they come through the border, they don't pay duty. And some of these commodities also, basically the food commodities, most of them are VAT free. So you realize that if they are produced within West Africa, they don't pay duty, they don't pay VAT. So they only pay processing fee, which is next to nothing. But this is because the protocols that we have signed. If they come from Europe, it's a different ball game. That one they are expected to pay.
It's quite interesting that you know you're shedding light on most of these issues. At least it makes people to better understand. I mean how it goes. I mean just a quick one. I mean, can custom increase or decrease duty?
Thank you, Ali. That's also something some people at other corners will start saying that customs has increased or GRA has increased duty rates and that and that. We don't have power to do that. You know, in life, in general, we have what we call specialization. And the institutions are guided by what their mandates are. GRA, as GRA, we are responsible for mobilizing revenue on behalf of government. But we are operational departments. There are things we can do, there are things we cannot do. Change of rates, that is the responsibility of Minister of Finance. We are under Minister of Finance, by the way. And they are responsible for changes of duty rates or other rates that we use to operate. So once that is done by them through in fact, they do that through the parliament. It has to be approved at the level of the parliament and then they will submit it to us. And we only applied it. So when rates are changed and people say that it's GRA, it is not GRA. We can only advise. I'm the principal tax advisor to the Minister of Finance. But if I want certain rates to be changed, either to go up or down, what I do is I write a letter to the permanent secretary, Minister of Finance, and he will discuss with the minister and his team, their staff. They'll look at it. If, for example, they feel like what I advise them, that's not something that they want to take that, they'll drop it. If what I advise makes sense to them, they may add one or two there and take it to the parliament. And if the parliament approves it, then it becomes a law, and then we can now apply it. So GRA on its own, we cannot increase rates, we cannot reduce rates. But we are only operational department. And we remain to be operational department. We leave the policy arm of doing things at the Ministry of Finance. Aliu.
And just finally, if you have any final message, I mean, to all those who are working under the Gambia Revenue Authority, because we have seen over the years, I mean, the annual revenue collection has continued to increase. I mean, this year, your target is around $15 billion. I mean, that's quite a huge amount, but yet, you know, you are able to, I mean, reach this target.
Yeah, well, thank you, Aliu, for that. You know, developing countries like one in the Gambia, especially if you are not blessed with a lot of resources, you have no other choice because they said in English, necessity is the mother of invention. Where there is no other thing to do, you have to invent, you have to come up with something. And with us in the Gambia, the only major source of income is, revenue, taxation. And in that taxation, you need to have people with responsibility, people that are very professional in what they do. So we are lucky at the level of GRA. I make sure that we appoint staff that are very professional, and we make sure that we appoint staff that are very matured and know what they are doing. We have, when ordinarily you talk to people outside, most of them will think that GRA is about customs or domestic taxes. When in actual fact, those of you who are close to GRA, GRA is far more than customs and domestic taxes. We have a full-fledged legal team with more than 6 qualified lawyers. We have a technical arm where Henry and Babukar comes from. Their job is to make sure that, everything on technical issues, taxpayer education and things like that's what they do. We have our own internal audit, a full-fledged internal audit that has ACCA holders, several of them. We have finance and accounting department that is responsible only for collection of revenue and reconciliation. They don't do assessment, but they look at every butut that is paid. Where it's paid, they reconcile it until at the level of the bank, central bank. So we have the HR department that is responsible for the human resources of the institution. We recently even created another department called Enterprise Risk Management Reform and Modernization /IT. So we are doing all this on behalf of the country because we must put this institution in a proper structure so that they can continue collecting the necessary revenue for the government. If these things are not happening, if these things are not in place, we will not be able to collect what we have collected. Because, let me say this, everybody needs money. Everybody wants money. But I must commend my staff. Collecting this huge amount of money, billions, on an yearly basis, and there are very limited issues. I'm not going to tell you that we don't have issues. We do have issues, but limited issues. So I must commend my staff for their professionalism.
Thank you so much.
If I can just conclude, Ali,
yes.
If you don't have responsible people, a lot of issues you will hear, because we are not dealing with 100,000, 200. We are dealing with billions. We are dealing on a monthly basis. We are dealing with billions. On average, we collect over $1 billion in a month. And to manage all, collect all that, to bank it all, to bank everything, to account for everything, it is not a child's play. This is a serious work, and I want everybody to understand that this is a serious work. If you have people who don't have brains to work, every day you hear a scandal. Every day you hear a scandal. Imagine you mentioned that we have to collect 15 billion. You think people collecting 15 billion, if they are playing games, you would not be hearing scandals on a daily basis? Look at institutions that are dealing with hundreds of thousands. Every day there is an audit issue. Every day there is a problem. Look at GRA. For the longest period, we are keep collecting billions and billions, and we are accounting for every butut that we collect. So I must commend my staff for them being professional, and I will continue encouraging them to be professional and to know that we have no other country but Gambia, and nobody can come here and to develop this country for us. But it is us who can develop this country. And meaning that everybody where you are is a division of labor. People who work at finance, they have a job to do. People who work at GRA, they have a work to do. People who work at Port Authority, they have a work to do. Everybody has a work to do. But together, we can make a country. If we all work efficiently, effectively, where we are, at the end of the day, this country will develop.
Thank you.
So we have to stop
thank you so much,
just pulling each other down and make sure that we focus and help each other to build this nation called the Gambia. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner General Yankuba Dawo, Gambia Revenue Operator. There couldn't be a better way to end this program. That quite a powerful address there. Not only limited to GRA, but I think this will be a message to every Gambian who is watching this program, and you are in one way involved in the development of this country. Let's work together and stop pulling each other down. and look at the country, the interest of the country supersede any other thing. Gentlemen, I understand time is up, but then there couldn't be a better way to end this program. I think CJ has really elaborated more about
you don't have even a minute.
Yes, just quickly, time's up.
Yeah, we just want to say it's through his leadership. That's why we are here, where we are. All this transformation and reforms and so on, he spearheaded it. And there's one thing that I like about him: education, training. The sky is the limit. And unless you don't want to go to UTG or to
anytime we talked to him, he never took the credit. He said it's the team.
It's the team.
And that's one good thing about a leader. I mean,
if you want to start to learn, you'll learn.
Well, viewers, with that we bring an end to this week's edition of your Taxpayer Education Program. I was your host, Aliou Cissé. Do join us next week. Until then, continue paying your tax for national development. Bye-bye.